think he was like, I'm gonna go spend the summer.
Did that slow down halfway through, or was that me?
That was perfect.
Oh, hello. I am your host, John Cavendish, and welcome to the Amazon Strategist Show, the show that is all strategy, no hacks, no silver bullets, and basically real practical things that will make your Amazon business grow and build you a real business that will last for the long term.
So why the hell am I on here?
So why are you here? Well, you're here because you look beautiful, John. And you're called John. It's basically, just John squared, isn't it?
Yeah.
So today I have with me the amazing Jon Tilley. After 15 years working as an account director and Amazon strategist, and not Amazon strategist, you're a digital marketing strategist for some of the top digital global agencies, Jon started selling in 2014, launching multiple successful private label brands before starting ZonGuru, an all-in-one software solution for private label sellers. And to be honest, I've been around it. I love it. And I especially love your SEO tools. They're super cool. On top of running ZonGuru, Jon can be found speaking at events or in his garage, under his Porsche or his motorbikes. And I remember our first call we ever had where you were literally in front of your Porsche. It's super cool. So welcome, Jon.
John, thanks. Yeah, good to be on, and congrats on the show. I love the branding, and as always, you do things very well. So I'm looking forward to the show, and we could have done it in the garage, but I thought I'd be a little bit more formal and put myself in our office in the house. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm just saying, your painting behind you looks like it's been specifically made for your company. Like it's like all of your brand colors in a line. It's beautiful.
No, it goes with the logo. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Nice. So let's dive into your story a little bit. Because you were in the UK, weren't you, before? I remember us chatting about
that. Yes. Well, I grew up in South Africa. The accent is South African, but I grew up in Johannesburg, and then moved to did a kind of trip to the US after college. Then went back to South Africa, started my career in advertising, and then in the early 2000s, I was living in London, which was a great time to be there, young and access to the whole of Europe, and a decent job to pay for the fun around Europe, which was great. And then eventually 2006 moved to the States and kind of settled in Los Angeles. So that's where I've been since. Yeah.
Oh, super cool. And is that like a jab at us Brexit now? Now I can't go and spend unlimited time in Europe, access to all of Europe.
And I could, absolutely. It was great. Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, LA is super cool as well, especially in the hills and the mountains. I love it. Yeah. All right. So then you're doing your advertising job. It's 2014 and you start getting into Amazon. How did you get into Amazon?
Yeah, into the Amazon world. I'm very, very grateful for that time. But I think over that time, I tell this often, but I call it entrepreneurial FOMO, right? I had this high lifestyle gig in advertising, super demanding, but I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Always had like small kind of side gigs, usually around like events and party management and throwing parties here and there, but I was looking for the opportunity to really kind of jump in and start my own brand, and just wasn't finding it, right? And it was a pretty hard leap. And I think one of the mistakes that us, business educated, I say in inverted commas, people do is we try and make a business plan for everything, and that's the fastest way to kill your idea, in my opinion sometimes. So you kind of looking for capital or whatever, and I just couldn't find the way there, and by around 2013, I was pretty frustrated with that. And through my co-founder actually of ZonGuru, Adam Hudson, we stumbled into Amazon in Vegas, as you do. And
literally, literally stumbled.
Yeah, literally stumbled into, I think it was one of those amazing conferences they called it back in the day. And, the penny dropped for me. I was like, hey, this is a product-based business that I can grow on the side. And I was pretty motivated at the time. I had like some life changes that were happening, and just said, hey, let's kind of keep the current 9 to 5, and let's do the side gig. and see where we get to. And I think within a year, I launched 2 products and, was doing enough to leave my advertising agency. So I fired myself and packed up and left. And at the time, this was the great days of Unicorn Smasher and, every course under the sun saying you can make 1,000 million gazillion bucks on Amazon, and it's so easy to sell a pink yoga mat. Adam, he was he is an awesome entrepreneur and educator, especially around like business practices. And he went back to Australia, started an education business, teaching people how to scale properly on Amazon with this beautiful platform that we had. My kind of part that I owned on that was really, developing the software to support people in scaling their business on Amazon. So, we were back in the day, then we were probably the first around, kind of not all in one, but it was like, multiple tools in our set to help you at each phase of your Amazon business, whether it was, research, listings, etc. And truly kind of like the core focus or the lens that we always looked through in our software was, hey, it obviously had to be, the best, latest, greatest data, but how can we visualize that through the true business lens of the questions that we need to answer to help us with our business, and then make it extremely relevant. So, there's a saying in advertising marketing, garbage in, garbage out, GIGO, right? And that always stuck in my head. I was like,
GIGO.
I
never heard GIGO before.
Yeah, GIGO. If you get garbage in, you get garbage out, right? So, you've got to make sure that you're getting the right data in the right way, and then visualizing in the right way so you can move the needle with your business. So we always, focused on what was most impactful, and have been true to that too today, right? Is always getting the data, but being impactful with it. Getting rid of the shiny objects, and just being a core focus, which has been great. And now we have 17 tools, and we're connected in a bunch of markets, and have a global audience, which is amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. And I was going to say, like, that was early. You guys were early with software. Like, everyone thought this was like the 2017 was when I thought like everyone piled into the software game. So like, was it just that Adam was building this and you wanted to be able to serve his community, or like, you were so ahead of the curve on that?
Yeah, I think, part of that and part of my advertising background, I started to cut my teeth in software, and I was super interested in that whole SaaS model, and I'm still extremely excited by it today. I think as an entrepreneur, if you want to learn anything and everything about, a modern style business, this is the one to be in, right? It's marketing, it's acquisition funnel, it's retention, it's software development, it's everything. And so, I saw it as a great opportunity, and it's at the time was obviously aligned with my Amazon businesses that I was growing at the time. So they all worked together and kept me excited and involved in this Amazon space. So that was really, the start. But we were early, and obviously 2017 there was a bunch of companies that started to blow up. Helium 10 being one, and I think their timing on some of their marketing activities got them some virality, which we didn't. But we've grown steadily. They're obviously the best known, but we're known as the best kind of hidden secret weapon amongst sellers, and I think when you build this business and you don't necessarily have the affiliate kind of network that's been developed by some of the bigger ones, it can be a challenge to sell someone just on an ad or a landing page, right? And we've evolved into a place where we now have an enterprise product, and we can sit down with expert agencies, aggregators, and it's really gratifying to get the feedback we get of how good our tool is, and how they've obviously started to use it across their business to kind of help. It's kind of that level now of how can we be most impactful, scale our businesses, be efficient, automated, and kind of move the needle with our brands, and big expert brands and agencies are choosing us, which is really, really cool to see. So it's a good evolution of the market, and it's finally kind of evolving where it's fitting really well at enterprise level, and obviously at the seller level, which is great.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of, when you were sharing, it makes me think, like, strategically, what is one thing you'd wish you'd done earlier with ZonGuru? If you'd start, if you go back, because we always see what other people do after we've started. We're like, what would have you done 2 years earlier if you'd had the chance?
Yeah, probably. SaaS and technology. It's not a technology business. It is technology, but it's the marketing and it's the it's the biz dev and the partnerships around it, which you absolutely 100% know as much as I know. It's actually sometimes the most challenging part of it, right? And I would say, I'm very happy with the progress of our product roadmap and what we've done. And I think maybe some of that virality we missed out because of some of our relationships with for example, we hooked up with Reliable and we were working really well together, but we missed out on some other ones because of the way we structured our relationship, but also because we had just focused on kind of feeding that beast, right? And so I think some of the partnerships and some of that third party brand ambassadorship and affiliates networking style thing, we didn't focus as much on. And I think, we see it a lot in this industry that I think that third party, push from affiliates has become massive, clearly, back in 2017, 18, Helium 10 did that phenomenally well and just kind of blew up that whole market and was ripe for kind of bringing in that affiliate MLM structure, and they just did amazing and got that awareness. So, once they got that, it was pretty hard to compete at that level. But we've got our strengths in our communities, and we've grown, and we're certainly pretty sizable as well, but not obviously the number one, which we don't need to be. There's no ego in that, right? And there's different challenges that come with each level, right?
For sure. I mean, who doesn't like to be number one?
But still. Yeah, absolutely, right. Yes, you want to be that, but it can be an ego thing, right? Certainly in this industry, being number 2 or 3 is still an amazing business, and at the end of the day, if we can truly satisfy our audience and help them move the needle and get that feedback, I think there's a lot of value and sense of accomplishment in that, and certainly setting us up for growth in the future, which is continued growth, I would say. Yeah.
No, 100%. No, I'm only being facetious.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Like, and the more we build each other up, the more we network, the more that we help each other, the more, more the whole ecosystem is growing right now, isn't it? It's crazy. It's still growing. So
yeah,
I just see it
will grow for a long time, which will be great.
Yeah. I see a few listeners have just joined us. So if you have, we have a upcoming competition. We have a spin the wheel coming up in about 10 minutes. So please do enter that. There'll be a link below and a link in the chat. All right. So you are the expert. You are the strategist. What can we use ZonGuru for to start building that long-term strategy? Whether you're at beginner level, medium level, high level, what can we use to start growing that strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you can use ZonGuru for that. I mean, first off, I think the one thing to say is that over those years, we've always built sellers on our teams, right? And I've always believed in Amazon as a side hustle, and I know that in this day and age, everyone's going to have a side hustle, and so I've incentivized our team to sell on Amazon and be passionate about that space, right? And we cover the first capital stock order with a 0% loan, so we kind of help them with the capital to get going. So we have a lot of sellers on our team, CTO, head of product, head of customer success, head of biz dev, people on the customer support team. So the point of that is, and very passionate about the space and excellent trainers, right? So, and training in the right way, right? Because if you go back to the DNA of when we started the business, including Adam Hudson, is like, I'm a believer in that, which is like, although Amazon is great and you can be extremely successful and make a lot of money, at the end of the day, there's no quick scheme to getting rich, right? And certainly maybe you'll make some capital in the beginning, but if you do that in the wrong way, you're going to blow up anyway, and you're not going to have a long-term sustainable business. So I think the strategy around long-term sustainable business is pretty crucial, and I've got a lot of views on the approach to that. And you see it a lot even in today. I was just saying this earlier to someone else, but all these businesses selling to aggregators, when you speak to them, a lot of them are selling it because they simply don't know how to scale beyond 7-8 figures. It's such a they're putting out fires. There's so much admin that they'd rather just kind of sell and start again because they don't necessarily have the right scalable strategies in place, right? So I think having that baseline education around really how to treat this as a proper business and move it forward is absolutely critical. We have a lot of training, as part of ZonGuru from our team, and we have live training each week for our customers, and really dig in and help a lot. And there's a lot of good strategy behind that. So that's number one. But number two, I think in terms of the tool set, as I said, we have tools at each kind of key, phase of your business or challenge of your business, right? Whether it's validating and finding and validating a niche in a product, whether it's a new product or an extension of your current brand, and what that looks like. And most importantly, finding the right ones with the right data, but then validating them with the right, first off, with the right business questions, and then the data that can support that, right? So that's a critical piece, because at the end of the day, a long-term strategy, if you don't have that as a baseline in place with the right product and the right kind of differentiation strategies, everything else is uphill, right? So you've got to get that right. And then obviously moving into our flagship products, which is around the SEO, keyword strategy, SEO, and what we call contextual SEO, and ensuring that at the end of the day, the heartbeat of your business, your storefront, your listing, is absolutely as optimized as possible from a context of the algorithm, but also from what Amazon customers are looking for, and also where your competitors are strong and where they're weak, and how you can capitalize on that is really critical. So we do that better than I think anyone in the space, for sure. And then obviously the automation side, which is review automation, ways to see your profitability, and get alerts on that, and just really kind of help run your business and stay in touch with the flywheel, right? Because that's what you have to do for a long-term strategy. We can talk more about the long-term strategy, but I think it's about making sure you can launch, but then how do you stay aligned with that flywheel and keep the business going?
I mean, I'm a big believer in the flywheel, like for every business, like having a flywheel for our own businesses, having it for Seller Candy, having it for your own Amazon business. So that's great. Long-term sustainable business. I've been making notes. Asking the right business questions and data, your keyword strategy tool and contextual SEO. Like, I would recommend anyone check that out. It's super cool. I love the way that you can basically live edit and add things in, and it will give you a score from the back end of your listing, like pulling it directly out of your Amazon account, which is the only time I've ever seen that in a tool. And then the flywheel. So what would you say are the strategic things, the long-term business principles that people are missing when they're looking at their Amazon business?
I think first and foremost, Amazon sellers don't necessarily spend enough time on the research part of differentiation, right? And what I mean by that is truly connecting with potential customers, target audiences, avatar work, understanding like, hey, is this truly something that matters, right? That's going to connect functionally, as well as emotionally. I think are the two things. So I think the research piece is far underrated, and I think ensuring that you really work in terms of understanding that audience and how to connect with them, I think is number one. I think how you differentiate, and the relationship that you have with your manufacturer from a long-term perspective, people can get wrong. And I would say probably the biggest tip on that is to try and, if you have a choice between products, choose one where you have a scalable product line, right? If you have one manufacturer that can give you 20 different products within a brand line, that's putting you in an extremely powerful position, because that launching one product is tough. And if you have and finding a manufacturer, and if you find that right, you just, the economies of scale of just launching 5 or 6 variations or products before you're hitting those 7 figures, it's there, right? And it's done for you. So I think
getting payment terms, getting extra things from them, they'll advance your inventory if they think you're a good prospect, won't they? It's awesome.
Yeah, you've got the relationship now. You can work on the economies, the pricing, etc. Obviously, it's always good to find a second manufacturer, and that helps to kind of write how they're going to give you. You're going to get your go, but it's going to be expensive in the beginning. But you'll work on that. But I think that's an area that the true understanding of, like, your manufacturer that you choose could potentially be a partner for the next 5 years that can grow you to 7-8 figures, and not necessarily treating that as a true partnership. I think a lot of people miss out on that. I think truly understanding the data of the niche that you're going into, and the depth of that niche, and what's the market share of that niche, and how many big competitors own the majority of share of market and sales, and whether you can compete, obviously is critical. And then, we can go on and on, but I think, once you've kind of got that right, having your launch strategy nailed in, which it has been the common theme over the last couple of years, but really having a solid launch strategy. And I still am dumbfounded today why I get customers coming on and they're like, dude, I've invested 6 months in this product, and I'm like, this thing is hot, cool. When are you going live? Oh, I started going live yesterday and I did like half a listing and I've got a few products on there. And I'm like, you've spent 6 months getting this thing right, and yet you don't have a really nailed down launch strategy where everything fires at once, and that's just a true game changer, right? So you've got to get that right. And then I think the last thing is that the industry has evolved enough right now that you can't focus on just your launch of your product and your launch strategy. You have to focus on a view of a year down the line, and what you need to do in place to stay, as you said earlier, in line with the flywheel. And that's obviously inventory management, doing all the right things to stay in line with Amazon and not fall out of favor, right? Because falling out of favor, is absolutely challenging to get back. And just knowing like, hey, what are the kind of things that can happen? What is my plan around that? Having guys like Set a Candy on the back end that if your listing goes down, getting that back, all those kind of things are critical, because the quicker you can navigate those, the more, the less time that passes when you're in a bad situation with Amazon, and you can be on and that includes, staying on that, but then figuring out your next launch of your product. So, it's evolved now where it's not just like, hey, we'll get one product and let's hope for the best. It's like, we've got all the data, we can come up with a good strategy. We have all the various softwares and services that we need to have an amazing launch strategy. And then we have the education, the knowledge, and the know-how to plan a year out, and what do we need to do along the way to stay in favor. So it's a proper business, and it should be treated like that. Yeah.
I agree. And the bit you're saying about launch strategy, it's like, I think it's the number one mistake everyone makes, no matter what business they get into, because we love the product, don't we? Like, you love your business, I love my business. And we think like, if we make the best product ever, people will come. They will appear, these customers will appear, and they will buy our stuff no matter what it is, whether it's a product, whether it's a SaaS, whether it's a service. Like
right.
My biggest mistake ever running a service-based business was concentrating just on the service and not on the strategy and the marketing.
Yeah.
So I love what you're saying about relationships, differentiation, research, and at the end of the day, relationships is it's kind of the point of business, isn't it? As well as what was I going to say? Getting rich, broing down, cashing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about relationships, because life is all about relationships.
Yeah.
So on the launch strategy, let's dive a little bit into that. So what is your golden 3-step, 5-step launch strategy? What would you do if you were, what do you recommend doing right now for launching a product straight out the gate?
Yeah, look, I mean, if you look at, the one thing I would say is no matter what product you launch and what niche, I firmly am a believer, and we see this in the data, that Amazon is going to give you your shot, right? It's going to give you traffic. It's going to push eyeballs and customers to your product, because, if you look at their business model is about ensuring that their end customer is happy. And the only way to ensure that is to make sure that they're getting the latest, greatest, best access to the latest, greatest products, right? And that anything that's coming up that's new, that's completely, differentiated and is a better fit, that the customers get, access to that, right? So you're going to get a shot, and it's about what you do with that shot. And that's the first part. Obviously, you need to have let's just say you've got a great product and you've got a well-optimized listing, right? So those two are done. The strategy that I would say at the very first of all, if you have a great product and you have a great listing, you're going to do well no matter what, right? And usually it's the people who don't have a great product that really suffer. But I would say, have a good, well-optimized listing with keywords, have a great product. And then from the launch strategy, it is that 2 to 3 week honeymoon period where you're going to get that chance, and you need to be aggressive with your PPC. You have to have a good understanding of how to set up your campaigns, and how to how to make that work and be patient with it. So understanding that strategy is important. And I would say, taking advantage of all of Amazon's programs that they have, including Amazon Posts, setting up your brand store, your EBC, making sure that, Amazon Posts that you're starting to, use that if there's those kind of internal, content pieces that you're trying to take advantage of those. And then, having an outside traffic source, whatever that is. Google Ads is the simplest. Facebook, if you can, there's so many of those strategies, and they're not rocket science. You can absolutely do that. It's just not being lazy about it and just, driving that, because the algorithm loves that, and you can just push it. So that's what I would do, right from the get-go, right? So it's as simple as that. And it's not that's they're crazy. I think one of the other things is, I think you should have some decent amount of stock available. And I think if Amazon sees, hey, you only have limited amount of stock, it's not really that interesting to them, right? Because they're trying to push the products that will give them the most sales and customer satisfaction, so they make the most money, right? So, get those right. Obviously, go in with a good pricing strategy, go low, because you want to get your conversion rate up, right? And so get a good conversion rate, and that's going to help you along the way. One other thing that I would absolutely recommend is, once you've built your listing, and you kind of ready, right? Is go and speak to 5 of your target audience, friends, doesn't matter. Say, let's just say you sell exercise stretch bands, right? Go to them and say, hey, go on Amazon, find exercise stretch bands as if you want to buy it, and go through the process of buying it. Don't tell them what your listing is. You might not even be live yet, but tell them to, go through the common buying questions they ask as they go through it, and why they select the one that they select, and let them be picky. Because what you're going to find going through that process is, there's going to be certain questions that listings are not answering today. And hands down, you will find 5 or 6. And if you get those right, that's going to be the difference between a sale or no sale. And it's going to be a huge difference on your conversion rate. So it's kind of that seeing the wood, seeing the forest from the trees, getting the target audience, and just record that. A Loom video, it's a free service. Just record that and watch it back, and then make the adjustments. And typically, I would say some of the big ones is not having an image with dimension overlay as one of your images in your stack, and being very particular or very detailed on your dimensions, right? Like gaps between screw holes or whatever those are, because those are sometimes the most important things. And you can go on any listing, any search today, and look through the listings, and you'll see someone is high, has their dimensions listed in their description copy. They don't have the image, and it's like, anybody on a mobile device is going to go and look at the dimensions on the image, and they're not going to have the patience to scroll through and look at it, and frankly be irritated that they have to go and look at the description copy. So these are kind of things that you need to get right, which will help your conversion rates. So when you get the traffic, you start to convert. It's getting those basics right. Yeah.
No, totally agreed. And the dimension overlay one is a super, super good one. I remember I was looking for a product a couple of days ago, and they didn't do the dimensions, but they put it next to a reference thing, but they had no dimensions on that. It was like a lamp, and it was next to a little, they wanted to make it look cool, like a Michelangelo bust. And I was like, how big is that? Is it actual size? I mean, is it the size of my bedroom? Is it this big? I can't tell. It arrives and they'll be like this large.
You just get that on, and you'll be 40. I'm sure you'll probably be 30% better than any other listing out there, right? Just by doing that. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Love it. So, inventory management, staying in stock, storefront, getting everything filled in. I mean, it's so basic, isn't it? And that's where ZonGuru can really come in, give you a listing quality score, make sure you're not screwing anything up and effing it up to start with. Yeah. Getting your friends to review, I think, is super cool, because, we all think we are the master of everything, but they're actually, we've been looking at this product for 6 months. They're like, right. Okay, I want like size band. I want to know, something that we can't even think of. Mm-hmm. And then outside traffic. So do you have a strategy for that you'd be willing to share? Any kind of throw, is there any special way to throw money at it?
No, I think there's some new services coming out with landing pages. What I would say, with any private label brand is when you're setting up, you're going to have a Shopify store. You have your Shopify store. Whether you link that and that's integrated with Amazon or not is up to you. But you can use it as a landing page and just drive traffic there. That might pre-qualify and kind of filter out the less qualifying traffic, so that the true buyers are actually going through to your listing, which then obviously you have a better conversion rate. So you can use that kind of squeeze page mentality to make sure that anybody clicking through is actually a true buyer and not just a researcher. But otherwise, just Google Ads and running direct, and you can also run it direct to your storefronts, which works better. Right. Yeah. So then, and then they can click through and find your product, and the ones that click through are obviously going to be the ones that are truly wanting to buy that. So that's another way of doing it. There's a number of ways, but I think the point is just pick one of those and at least go live with one of those. Obviously, building, having an Instagram page or Facebook or whatever you want to do on that front, and building some kind of community beforehand is a great process, right? And you can do that because it's an instant launch, ability around that. But look, outside traffic is great. And outside of that, so that's as simple as I would like. I'm not going to say I'm an expert in the outside, but I know if you can drive if you have a great product listing, you maximize all of Amazon's internal programs that they have, and then you drive some outside traffic, you're in a really strong position. Yeah, hands down. Yeah. That's what you need to do. I would definitely take advantage of Amazon posts. That's essentially kind of the Instagram for Amazon for your brand. You're getting free eyeballs on that. They're posting that. You can collect an email. They literally can collect an email list which they hate you doing, but you have a whole following on that, and then you have that as a future way of really connecting with those people and pushing your next launch of your next variation or your product anyway. So take advantage of those for sure. Yeah,
oh, that's awesome. Amazon Post is great as well, isn't it? Because now Amazon's pushing it. So anything that Amazon's just launched, take advantage, because they are over egging it to make sure to see if it fits or not. And not everyone's doing it. Like less than 2% or 1% of brands, I think, are doing Amazon Posts. It's crazy. Thanks, Jon. So far, this has been awesome, and we have the fun coming up.
All right.
So now we have on every show we want to give something back to our audience. We haven't come up with a name for the audience, so if you can think of anything, let us know. The problem is that it's called the Amazon Strategist Show, so the acronym doesn't work so well unless we get like a donkey or something like that with branding on it, which was kind of an idea, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll get an S in the front. It's SAS, like I don't know, like sassy. I don't know. Jeez,
sassy. That's a good idea. Special.
The special Amazon Strategist Show.
Yeah. So what we do is we have a spin the wheel. Jon has very graciously given us a free business health check from ZonGuru, which is going to go back on the wheel. And if anyone's a regular viewer, you'll know that we have everything from previous guests that isn't claimed yet is also still on the wheel. So we have $400 of free reimbursements from Seller Candy. We have some cash options, everything from $5 to $100 cash that can be sent out. And when you register, you will get put on this list for every single one of our giveaways. We have a campaign review from Amped, just reading off my list here. We have a 1-hour free call with Jon, another Jon, from Black Label Advisor.
Oh, nice.
We have, Jon's awesome as well. We have a $1,000 PPC audit from Trivium. And we have ZonGuru, who's going to on there. We'll see. And the link is going across the bottom of the screen right now, and also has already been posted in the comments to anywhere you're watching this. So click on that and enter. We will be announcing the winner at the next live show, along with a few other winners, because we've got a backlog. So get in now. You're really likely to win something.
Yeah, and by the way, that free business health check is essentially, there's a form that you would fill in, and then there's a real analyst on the back end who's going to be checking data against your business, and then we'll come back with a report saying, hey, these are the areas that you need to focus on to improve your business. Here's the things that are going well. So, for all of those sellers out there where you're like, hey, am I actually maximizing my potential, or am I missing something? You get a free outside perspective on your business, which, using data and tools, which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love that. Super cool. All right. So Vivian, our amazing producer. So you said we look professional. It's all thanks to Vivian, who's out in the background secretly getting everything going. If you'd like to throw up our the wheel
Don't choose ZonGuru, Vivian. Just choose something else, please.
No, it's
I
actually
want to
really
be on the next show for a little bit more brand awareness. There you go.
Here we go. And here is the wheel. So, John, when you're ready, you got to shout, spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel. Oh, I want to be on a game show.
We can get some music for this for next time. If you
Oh, nice.
$400 reimbursements free from Seller Candy.
Damn, that's great.
It's our Seller Candy sponsorship. So first time anyone's won anything from Seller Candy. So Seller Candy obviously is our business. So if you've, we will be announcing the winner of that next time. So please do enter using the link events.sellercandy.com/AMZ/strategy, and we will announce the winner next time. Oh, that's very cool. Thanks, Viv. All right. So before we get to the Q&A, we have the rapid fire questions. These are always fun because our editor can take these out and use them completely out of context. Don't worry, there's nothing too bad. It's not like we edit it at the start.
All right,
give you very, very unfavorable viewpoints. So you have one-word answers, 10 seconds, oh, not 10 seconds, 2 seconds to answer each question.
One-word answer. Okay, got it.
Are you ready? All right, John. Rapid fire questions. What is your favorite Amazon niche?
Yoga.
If you could choose no pictures or no reviews, which would you pick?
No reviews, actually.
Name a country that starts with the letter Z.
Zimbabwe. I'm from Africa. I can get that one.
No. Which Amazon marketplace is the next big opportunity?
Oh, I love Amazon Australia. There's so much good growth that's going to come out of that over the next 3-4 years. Yeah. And UAE. But yeah, Amazon Australia. One word. Sorry.
Amazon Australia. Pineapple on pizza. Yes, yay or nay?
Yes, please.
Name something that appealing about working from home.
Hanging out with my kids.
Google or Facebook ads?
Google. Oh, Google for sure.
Name something you'd hate to find swimming around in your bathtub.
A hair.
And just for you, Porsche or Ducati?
Ooh, Porsche for sure.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yeah. Pineapple on pizza. What do you think?
When I was young, never. But now I feel like as I get older, I'm getting more twisted. You know, nice. I'm into the
salty sweet. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you know what I mean. My mind is getting bent. So we have a quick Q&A session now, just to finish up. Mm-hmm. So if you have a question, if you'd like to type it in the chat, and also they'll come across on a banner across the screen. So this is a time that you can ask John absolutely anything. What's under the hat?
Anything, you know. You see where the questions were going, so yeah, feel free.
I've never seen you without a hat on, John. Like one question: what's under the hat?
Yeah, there's definitely hair. Good,
yeah. That's all good. What's your car? What's your favorite car?
My favorite car? Oh man, there's so many, but obviously I love Porsche and the old classic. Mine's an '88, so I'm a little bit older, but yeah, I love those. Aston Martins are great, the old school ones. I'm a bit of a classic, more of a classic car style guy when it comes to those. So I grew up with that. My dad had a few of those, so I've always been around classic cars. Yeah,
it's awesome. We have a question. Is A+ content worth investing a lot in? So is this worth investing, hiring an expensive designer, getting it all really professionally done, or is it worth putting it together yourself?
Well, I think the first answer on that is like, yes, you need to be trademarked and get EBC and have A+, right? At the end of the day, Amazon, it's a website that sells products, but in the last while, they've started to shift more towards focusing on a website where brands sell products, right? So it's a brand focused play, and anything that aligns with them showcasing brands is something you should be doing. You should be doing the best of. So A+ content, yes. And should you do it to the best of your abilities, 100%, right? So, that's where the difference comes in. So, you don't have to necessarily invest that much money in it, but you can get it right. There's a lot of strategies. One thing I would highly recommend is looking on mobile and, understanding mobile versus desktop and where it shows and how to do it in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's probably one of the biggest tips ever, isn't it? Actually using Amazon's text rather than putting text and images in your A+, because it's probably going to look crap on mobile if you're putting text in for desktop on your A+.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because like Amazon doesn't even report that much on they're getting better at it now, but sales coming from mobile, and it's massive. Everything is designed. I mean, I do it all the time in the States, and I've literally, it's like, hey, I have a thought, I bring out the phone, I find it, and I can swipe right, like an instant purchase. It's right there, and it's an instant decision. So you've got to get that absolutely 100% right to give them what they need. So make sure you're mobile, you're designing for mobile for sure.
Perfect. Thanks, John. That's awesome. And hopefully, Ashley, does that answer your question? Give us a thumbs up if it does. I see some other questions have come up from Twitter. I think my competitor has been leaving negative reviews on my products. How do I remove them and stop this from happening?
You'll know the answer better than this, but what I understand is that if you are EBC trademarked, you have the ability to kind of easily report, black hat tactics from your competitors and get them looked at, right? So I think that's the strategy, but you'll know better than me.
No, I mean, basically you're right. Have someone report them and then follow up continuously. Like Amazon is more of attrition when it comes to reviews, because their default response is always, oh, it's within our TOS, because it's not, it's not swearing. It's not just about delivery, and then we just have someone hammer Amazon until they remove it.
You got to get out of the loop. Yeah.
Get out of the loop. I had a call with a really lovely a lady in Australia yesterday, because our sales guys out sick this week with COVID. So get well soon, Ben. Hopefully you watch this episode. And she was saying her new number one tip, not that it's a tip, she got through to leadership twice, 2 calls in a row, is to cry on the phone. So
just record that, put it on. There you go. You don't even have to cry. Yeah.
So Rosalind, if you're there, sorry for sharing that, but I think that's an amazing tip. And I even raised it to the team. I'm not that we're all going to start like crying, and we got the Seller Candy crying training coming up. Yeah. But thanks so much.
That's it, and I've also been on those, and there is absolutely something in if someone takes a shine to you and they're like, hey, listen, I'll be able to get this through my manager, and they have those things, but they don't provide it for everyone. So if you can win them over, you're getting there, and you don't win them over by shouting at them. So
I get that, and people will do anything for you if they empathize you.
Yeah.
Final one from B Coffee Company. I see my competitor using a lot of weird words which sound off in their titles. Should I be filling in my titles with keywords or making them relevant?
Yeah. It's probably this idea of keyword stuffing, right? Which is the overall thing is like, hey, get as many keywords as I can into my title, because that's the most important one for Amazon. At the end of the day, the algorithm is going to give you more juice, let's just say, if you have a very specific phrase in your title that converts versus something that's further down your back end, right? So there was this age-old one of overstuffing your title. Some people say overstuff in the beginning, then bring it back and make it look decent. Our approach and what we've always done is as a brand, be professional, follow the guidelines that Amazon give you in terms of how to write your title, stick to those. But you can be very smart in how you exact phrase and broad match in your title, right? And I think if you can literally exact phrase and broad match across, you can use our tool even, and you can see, hey, by changing a couple of words here or adding 1 or 2 words here, I can get like the first 20 or 30 of my most relevant phrases, at least on a broad match, right? And I think if you can do that, you don't need to overstuff it, and it doesn't need to sound all funky and funny, right? So I would lean towards that. And it's just based again on the caveat of, I'm assuming that you've got a great product and you've done well with your listing, right? So be professional, long-term approach, have a great brand, make sure that you exact order phrase match, and you'll be good.
Yeah, I love that, and that's somewhere where really your tool can also come in as well, isn't it? Because it'll be like it can reverse engineer your competitor's title and tell you what they're ranking for, and if any of those keywords are actually doing anything,
Exactly.
And it depends what the keyword is as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, what's great about our tool is that on the listing side, you can compare yours versus your top 8 competitors and get a rating across all of them, right? And see what they're doing well, or what you can use and what you shouldn't. And we also give you the backend search terms, which is kind of cool. So, or if you're seeing funky stuff in the title, wait till you see the backend search terms. It gets pretty funky. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
What came to mind immediately when I saw coffee and thinking of weird search terms in the back end, I would have thought poop could be an interesting search term, for like Kopi coffee.
Yeah.
Like weasel poop coffee. I can imagine poop being a potential back-end keyword for some coffee brands.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, so
let's do a research using ZonGuru to see if anyone has that in the back end.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure there's a lot of that. Yeah. That and just it's amazing to see how just over the years, on .com at least, how people are searching using Spanish. Like hands down, Spanish phrases are literally in the top 20 in terms of search volume across the board and growing, right? So there's a huge Latino population here, and using Spanish and that the algorithms recognizing that it's used more and more. So you've got to get that into your listing. And a lot of brands miss that out.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that is a golden tip which needs to be highlighted. And we'll probably extract that and shove it at the front of the episode.
Great,
love that one. Any more questions while we're here? I guess while we wait, have you seen that new Lotus? The new Lotus,
no.
Electra. You should look at the reviews. It's looks phenomenal.
Really? Wow.
My new dream.
It's a good car. Lotus, yeah, I love it.
Awesome looking sports car.
Yeah, and it's kind of got that sports car but go-kart feel to it, right? So it's a cool car. Yeah. So I'll check that out. Yeah.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to think if there's if there's anything else that I want to just touch on from a golden nugget perspective. One thing that I think is important to mention in creating your listing is obviously where do you get your keywords, right? And as complex as things can get with keywords, and there's a lot of teachings nowadays around, and it's based on context, which we always talked about, which is like, hey, what are the best keywords, but how do your competitors rank on those keywords, and trying to find those opportunistic keywords that they don't rank on. That can get pretty complex. We solve it in our software. It's very easy because we give a view in our software where we give you all of the keywords, but then how your top 25 competitors rank up to position 300 on each of those, and then ways to filter to kind of see, hey, where are the top competitors not ranking where there's decent search volume, right? So there's easy ways to pull those keywords out and use that in your listing, and then obviously in your PPC to drive and get good conversion rate on terms they just haven't found yet, right? So there's a lot of good ways to get complicated on your listing and your listing strategy. But at the basic level, if you take out the shiny objects and you focus on what's most impactful, you've got to make sure you get the best quality keywords in your listing that your competitors are not finding, right? And so that boils down to the quality of the keywords you find. And hands down, I believe we do it in the best way, because we don't just look at a reverse index and find what all competitors are indexing for, but we actually look for what are customers truly typing into Amazon this month, this week, and what does that look like? And when you look at our kind of keyword list versus competitors for localized markets like the German market, or any of those European markets, or even Australian markets, you'll see keywords in our list that you just won't find in other ones, because they just, for whatever reason, they haven't figured out how to actually get at that, right? So at the end of the day, the quality of the keywords that you have in your listing is what's going to move the needle. And then, yes, if you can look at other ways of filtering the data to kind of make sure that you're finding opportunistic, longer tail, lower volume, but keywords your competitors just don't own. That's also a good thing to put into your listing.
No, I love that. And sorry, I just smiled then when I thought about what Aussie keywords there would be.
Yeah.
Aussie slang keywords coming out.
I won't pretend that. I made like the huge mistake of oh my God, I'm just forgetting the name right now. But what's the Aussie version of Marmite? Come on, I should know.
Vegemite.
Vegemite, thank you. And I was at an Australian conference, and I was like trying to be all funny in the beginning, and I was like, I love it when I come back to Australia, I can get my long black, which is what they call a coffee. My long black, I can get that.
Okay.
I can, and I can have my.
I was like, I didn't know that. So
yeah, long black is basically like an Americano, right? But if you say Americano, they look at you funny. I can get my Tim Tams, which is a kind of like cookie that they have. And then I was like, and my Marmite, and everyone was just like, wait, what? Like you call it a Marmite instead of Vegemite, and I was just like, oh my, I can't believe I got this so wrong, Anyway, that was just me trying to think that I was connected to the Australian culture and completely getting that wrong for a second, and I should have got it right. So anyway, yeah.
Coffee's hilarious, isn't it? I went to the US and Canada, and I tried to order a white coffee, and they were like, coffee isn't white, it's brown.
Yeah.
Different differences in like ordering all over the world's hilarious, isn't it? It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, Jon.
Good.
Thanks so much for coming. How can people contact you, and how can people, get in contact with ZonGuru and test it out?
Yeah, come check out our website, zonguru.com. Check out our blog. There's a lot of great content on there. Check out our Instagram handle /ZonGuru. You'll see a Rate Your Hack series on there, which I'm hoping that you're going to be on that soon. I'm sure they've touched base with you, but it's basically like your basic high level white hat hack to move the needle with your Amazon business. So that's on there. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff on there to check out. So those are all the places you can find us, and I'm sure you're going to find a lot of content that is helpful, and a team that is absolutely itching to help you with your business. So check it out for sure.
Thanks, Jon. And thanks for being our first ever live episode. This is our first ever live episode. So thanks so much for doing it. And really looking forward to having you back on in a few months.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
See you, Jon. Bye. Oh, thank you to our listeners as well. Everyone that's been watching live. We've seen you here, seen you coming and going. And if you're watching the replay, don't forget to enter the competition because you will get entered for next week. And thank you.